It was a tough week for UNC Pembroke women's basketball, which dropped a pair of Peach Belt Conference contests against foes from the state of Georgia. A road loss to Clayton State was followed by a home loss to Georgia Southwestern. The Braves now sit at 8-9 overall. A bright spot for UNCP was the play of junior Janisha Monley, who was named the Peach Belt Conference Player of the Week. Monley now has double-doubles in 5 straight games, dating back to her 19-point, 12-rebound game against Montevallo January 9th. On the men's side, it was a similar story. A pair of tight PBC losses have the Braves at 10-9 on the season. Sophomore guard Brandon Watts has been stellar recently for the Black and Gold, scoring 25 or more points in 3 of his last 4 games. Indoor track season is underway for UNC Pembroke, and the Braves had a big day at the Winston-Salem D2 Invitational. UNCP won 11 event titles, highlighted by Fatima Funderburk breaking a 4-year-old school record by winning the 200-meter dash with a time of 26.39 seconds. UNCP wrestling did not compete last week. They're at the Super Region 2 duels in Hartville, South Carolina this weekend. The Black and Gold Report starts now. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Black and Gold Report presented by Pepsi, a show all about UNC Pembroke athletics. I'm Cameron Songer, and this week's show is all about the women's sports. We have our softball season preview and an update on the women's basketball season for you. But first, it's my pleasure to be joined in studio by UNCP softball head coach Brittany Bennett. Coach, thanks for joining us.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Before we dive into this season, let's talk a little bit about last season. The Braves finished the 2015 season with a 26-21 record, the first winning season for the program in 5 years, but just barely missed out on a spot in the PBC tournament. What were some of the things you took away from last season that you can build on heading into this year?
Well, a lot. You know, I take these seasons very personally. I'm sure that's a lot to do with my youth and that I'm just 2 years into my young head coaching career. But, you know, I sit down at the end of every season after some time has elapsed and just write down all the things that I think that we can improve on. And then I have my assistants do the same and see where we're similar in those things. And we try to make a mix of what we thought we could get better at, some details that we need to clear up and clean up. And just overall, I'm so proud of the season that we had last semester because of the fact that we were over 500. And as you can tell, it was the first time in a long time. But moving forward, that's not our goal. So we did meet some goals and we did have a good season, but the goal is to be in the conference tournament and competing in postseason play.
The Braves have combined for 48 wins through your first 2 years at the helm. Have you been pleased with the progression of the program so far, and what's the future hold for UNCP on the softball diamond?
Well, I love it here, so I'm super happy with where we're going, but I'm a coach and we're never satisfied, right? I'm super happy with the fact that we've had some wins here lately, but what I want is for us to figure out how to win and put long stretches of wins together. What was really wonderful about last season was we won a lot of games at home. Off the top of my head, I think we were 18-10 at LRA Field, and you know, we want to defend our home territory the best and then try to snag a road win here and there. We really want to improve on that away game setting for us. That's really one of our ultimate goals this season. And I think if we can kind of do those things, you'll see that record improve, and eventually it won't be a question of where we're at for the conference tournament.
Let's jump into previewing the 2016 campaign. You graduated 5 seniors off last year's team, including former All-American Bree Hartley, who joined your staff as a graduate assistant coach. But your starting lineup returns relatively intact, and you have added 14 new faces to the roster as well. You have to be pretty excited with the depth of your squad this year.
Yeah, you know, we've had some big recruiting classes, and that's pretty abnormal for my behavior. And a lot of that has to do with just coming into a low roster numbers position very early on when I got here. So every year we try to add a few more. And obviously when you have we had 6 actually graduate, but we only had 5 seniors in that class. So, I mean, that's already a big class in itself. So we brought in a lot of new kids, a lot of new faces that really know winning. And just going forward in the 2016 season, I think what's really exciting is the versatility we have at each spot. I think that's what we're looking forward to the most.
The strength of a softball team generally starts in the circle. UNCP brings back 16-game winner Katie Saunders in the middle and adds a pair of freshman arms as well. What has you excited about your pitching staff this year?
Well, I'm very excited about them this year. I cannot speak enough about the fact that all starts, every single pitch starts right there. Every single moment that we have starts right there. And you know, I'm lucky enough to have Katie Saunders returning, and she gained invaluable experience as a junior last year, and I think she's going to do nothing but rise above that this year. But I've also added a couple of freshmen in a transfer that I think will hold their own in a circle. And that's just really a big spot that we've needed to address, moving forward, is to really to have more of a staff and less of, one or two dominant pitchers. We just really want to be even across the board and have a change within our looks of what each pitcher looks like. And I can't speak enough about having KB and Taylor and Abby and Saunders. I mean, just having every one of those kids, along with a kid named Summer Dickerson who pitches and plays a position. I'm just really looking forward to having them in the circle and seeing what they can do in the Peach Belt.
You have some options in the infield this season, especially with the return of shortstop Taylor Gerhardt, who earned all-conference honors as a freshman last year. What are some of the strengths of your team in the infield?
Well, I think coming out of the fall season, just, if anybody came and watched us play at home, our defense is so strong this year, and a lot of it has to do with the fact that the ball's not getting through the infield. I think previously some balls that might be getting through the 3-4 hole or the 5-6 hole, for us, those are getting knocked down and keeping runners from advancing another base. Taylor was picked preseason all-conference at shortstop this year, and I'm super proud of her for that. She's a huge leader of our program, but we also have Jamie, who plays third base, who I don't think anything gets by her, and if it does, it had to be a miracle. So really left side, we have a lot of veteran skill set, and then Morgan, playing second, being her 5th year. She'll hold down the right side, and we'll find someone to replace Megan Hillard over at first base, and Tony behind the plate. I think we have a really good set of good, returning, solid infielders right now. And I think moving forward, having the ability to have a lot of stuff kept in the infield will keep our runs earned down, and I think that'll help us tremendously.
All right, thanks, Coach. It's time for us to take our first break here on the Black and Gold Report. When we come back, we're still talking to UNCP softball head coach Brittany Bennett, so stay tuned. Welcome back to the Black and Gold Report. I'm Cameron Songer. We're doing our UNCP softball season preview with head coach Brittany Bennett. Coach, let's get right back into it. The outfield looks very strong for your team this year. Whitney Jackson returns to anchor down left field, but you have plenty of options to choose from. What will your outfield look like on opening day?
Well, I will tell you this. The outfield takes everything pretty personal. Their goal is to let anything on the ground get to the fence. So that's kind of how we practice. They're a great group. Whitney played right field in previous seasons, and she's going to probably shift to the center field spot. So she's going to be the leader of that outfield, and we're quicker. We are taking better angles at balls, and we've got some stronger arms out there this year, so I'm really looking forward to what they're going to do. I always challenge people to watch our outfield because I think we're going to have one of the best in the conference.
Now, turning to the offensive side of the ball.
Sure.
Hitting for average, power hitting, or creating runs with team speed. What can fans expect to see from the Braves on the softball diamond, especially after a pretty successful fall season for the club?
Well, I think if you put the word, what do we expect to see, I think that I would be lying through my teeth if we did anything that anyone would expect. We do things a little different. We will try to manufacture runs in any single way that we know how. And I think it's funny because my team understands that we practice this way. This is what we do every day, and then we get in a game and we just blow people out of the water. We're aggressive, I think everybody in the Peach Belt knows that now, but when you come in, you take over a program and you don't score a lot of runs, you gotta do anything you can to try to get runs across the plate. So we will manufacture and do any single thing that we can to get a run across the plate. And I don't think many people understand how much we can surprise people with the short game, the ability to move bases, the ability to take extra bases. We really do, I think, make an exciting game, and we do have a lot of fans because of it, and I think offensively we just do whatever it takes to manufacture runs.
Peach Belt Conference preseason coaches poll was released late last week, and the Braves were picked to finish 10th among the 13 softball playing schools. Obviously, you have higher expectations for your team in 2016, so what kind of motivation does something like that provide your student athletes?
It's great motivation. I'm not surprised by that. I think you have to kind of earn your way into that preseason poll. If we had finished in the top 8 the last 2 years, I would expect to be in the top 8. And, the first statement I made to my team when I said this is after all the disappointment, I said, what have you earned? And, they kind of get a little flustered with me because they know that we're better this year. But, you got to earn your way into that. But then again, it's also just a poll, and it's just a bunch of coaches sitting around and putting people in order. So I take any kind of motivation, and I think every day at practice now I'm like, oh, they picked you 10th. How does that make you feel? So it's kind of given us a little extra motivation, but deep down, this team knows that they're better this year. I hear that conversation a lot with my returners. So you can pick us first, you can pick us last, you can pick us third, but our goal is to be in that top 8. If you get in the top 8, you only got to win 3 games in the conference tournament to make it to regionals. That's our goal, is to finish in the top 8. I think we have the potential to finish above 8th, but you got to earn everything, and no one's going to give us anything until we take it. So we're looking forward to it.
All right, looking now at this season again, what are some of the games you look forward to seeing your team play this season, and who are some of the teams to beat in the Southeast region?
Well, if you follow Division II softball, you know that North Georgia won the national championship. So I think ultimately we have the national championship returner in our league. So everybody kind of sees them as the target to get, because if you can beat them, you can be the best in the country. We always have 4 or 5 teams ranked in the top, I would say 20-ish to top 10 at any point in time during the season. So every week that can change, but I look forward to playing good opponents. Every year that we schedule, we get more regional opponents, more people that made it back to the regional tournament. We try to schedule to prepare for the Peach Belt, and I think just the fact that our games are just double headers instead of a 3 or 4 game series, and we take them very seriously. But I'm just looking forward to playing better competition. Next year will even be better, and after that, and after we start winning more, we'll have better competition come to us. So I like to open the season with Kutztown. I think they do a great job. They're usually ranked top 5 in the country, and that should always be our first game of the season. So I'm just looking forward to game 1. We'll work to game 20 and 30 when it gets here.
All right, quickly, Coach, you're kind of the face of the program, but there's more than one coach. Talk a little bit about your coaching staff.
I'm the luckiest coach at Pembroke, because I have 3 people that work underneath me that I think just really do a good job. And I want to take this time just to tell you that, all the way from Coach Hobbs, who's been with me since we started, and then Coach Smith has also been with us, and he is integral to our program, and he's behind the scenes all the time doing the work for us. And then we added Coach Hartley, who wants to say goodbye to an All-American. We had to just keep her in our program, and I know she had voiced concerns about wanting to continue coaching and make that her career. So I just want to say thank them for everything that they do, and they're so good with the girls, and I'm just so lucky to have such good people that are so good at what I'm terrible at to help balance me out. So I'm very lucky to have those 3 people work with me every day.
All right, thanks, Coach. We're looking forward to have you back on very soon. That's UNCP softball head coach Brittany Bennett. When we come back, we'll get an update with UNCP women's basketball head coach John Haskins, so stay tuned.